Hi guys, so a bunch of people have asked how to make this friction pincher bug that we've been doing with our STEAM program. So here. So how did I make this? So basically, I went to BJ's and I got their, what is this called? Chipboard. Usually I find it in between the paper towels and I just grab a bunch and bring them home. And I cut them down into these long rectangle shapes. And then I figured out how to make it into this little tube box shape that are open on the ends like this. So I just trial and error measured it out about this. I'll give you the measurements later what I did, but if you want to make your own size, it will work fine as long as it's like a size of like a really big crayon box kind of shape. So what you do now is you're going to need an X-Acto knife and you're going to need a ruler or a straight edge, and then you score at each of the corners so that you get a nice sharp fold on those. You don't need to draw it out like this. I just drew it just so it's easier for you to see. So once that's all scored, you have this part done. Then you're going to need the strips for the pinchers, and for that we're using just black poster board. So I just got big sheets of black poster board at the dollar store, and these are 17 inches long, and then you have to have a score on this where it folds, and that's 5 inches long. Again, I'll show you the measurements. And so you need 2 of those. Oh, and it's 1 inch wide. Right, so you have your your chipboard, and then these would be the sides. Then you're going to take your pincher strips, and then you want to have the shorter part where it folds to go one in here and one on here, and they need to line up. You need to make sure that where the creases are lining up with each other. And it also needs to fold inward on both of them. Right here. And that needs to fold inward too. Now the way we're going to attach this is with a stapler. I did try glue, and I had the kids glue it the first time I tried this, and it was a disaster because they couldn't wait for the glue to dry, and they were all trying to make it pinch, and they're all falling off, and it just wasn't worth it. So I put in the time and I prepped these beforehand and stapled these on before I went to class. So it's a little more work, but it's really worth it because they can be kind of rough with the pincher bugs once they're built. Okay, so back to what we're making here. So here and here, you're going to use a stapler. So you got 30 kids in your class, you're going to do 30 of those, and you're ready to go to take them to the class. Now at this point, when you bring them to your student, what I'd say to the students is to write their name on this side, which is the inside, and then I say once you write your name, flip it over, and this is the side that we're going to color on. So we have either that or that. Could be the top or the bottom of your bug. Doesn't really matter. But we do want to have it flat while they're coloring. So you're going to flatten this out down on the table. And then using oil pastels, they design whatever they want the top of their bug to look like. You can also do the sides. I didn't do the bottom, but they're welcome to do the bottom. And then they also can add design to their pincher parts too. So once the student says that they are done with the coloring, then I usually walk around, or if you have enough staplers, you can have them staple it. It depends on the age. It doesn't take very long. It only takes 2 staples. And you just pull it up like this, staple here. And staple here. Then these strips go on the inside. Like that. And then it's ready to work. Now, what I've been doing is having scrap paper for them to make little critters for them to grab as something to keep them busy while you're walking around stapling everybody's bugs together. So if you have some little scraps of paper, you can ask them to cut out some kind of a bug shape. And then I had to cut little notches in here so you can fold them down to make little legs. That way it's standing up and it's easier for this to grab, because if it's a flat piece of paper, you can't grab it. But if it's standing up, they can grab it. And that keeps them pretty busy. You can draw on it with the oil pastels if they want to, and that way they're not all just saying, you know, when are you gonna get to me to staple mine? Another thing we can add to this besides making the little bugs is we can add legs. So if you see on mine, I have little legs on there. That I used glue to put on like this. So while you're walking around stapling, you can have these little strips cut out, and then the students can cut these and then fold them and then glue them to the sides, and they can make legs. I've had students make little tails or wings. When the students have that extra time and they're attaching little legs, or they're working on the little critters for it to eat, you can also have scraps of white paper around so they can cut out and add eyes on top of the drawings that they did if they prefer. If you use the white glue, it should be fine to get the eyes to glue onto the oil pastel.